Well, I grew up in a valley outside of Colorado Springs on a street called Hidden Valley Road. Our house was surrounded by nature, so we were constantly playing outside in the yard, climbing trees, making tree forts, playing in the snow, having snowball fights. I also loved to garden with my mother and have tea parties and dance with my sister. We had large Christmas gatherings and many dinner get-togethers. Because it was such a large family, my childhood was both one of the best and one of the most traumatic childhoods you could imagine. My mother grew up in a very prominent family in Houston, Texas, where they were very proper. We were often dressed in the best clothes. Those were clothes she would make herself, and we would either be dressed that way to go to church or the ballet or occasionally the opera in Santa Fe. She was largely a homemaker and a mother, but she was also a gardener and an artist. We were able to spend our summers in Aspen with the ballet and go to Santa Fe to meet artists like Georgia O'Keeffe and Peter Hurd and Henriette Wyeth. My father was often gone working. He was in the Air Force Academy. He got his PhD in political science from CU. He was a professor and taught at DU, CU, and the Air Force Academy. From the outside, our family looked like the perfect family, and in the beginning, part of my childhood was fulfilled by outdoor activities, sports, and cultural experiences. It was when my brother's behavior started to change that our family fell into an ongoing crisis. I was in elementary school and things started to change fairly slowly. I grew up with 10 older brothers, and throughout my childhood and teenage years, 6 of them developed schizophrenia. My brothers, who I had looked up to all my life because of their athleticism and academic success, started to develop very strange and bizarre behavior, and we really had no idea why. The doctors were blaming my mother, and it got so bad that by the time I was 12, I had to move out of my home on Hidden Valley Road. I was fortunate in that I lived with Sam and Nancy Gary, a family in Denver who sent me to the Kent-Denver school. And all of a sudden, my life went from going to my brother's hockey games and football games to living with a very wealthy family. My childhood was tough. I was forced to turn to things to help me deal with the impact from that. I turned to journaling early on when I lived with the Garys. Eventually, art and meditation combined with therapy helped. So, when I was a kid, I used to step outside of the house and get up and over a big hill to go to school every day. And recently, I realized that's part of why I love to hike and get outside. So I did it by spending time outside too. And I wanted healthy outlets, and I found these to be the best way for me to cope with the situation, and these are still part of my toolbox every day. I'm currently an artist working on printmaking, some oil painting, and photography. I spent some time, 5 years, at the Denver Botanic Gardens learning botanic illustration, which was inspired by my mother's love of botanicals. I spent the last 20 years writing my life story and journaling stories about my family and going to writing workshops to hone this craft. And about 5 years ago, I had the courage to turn over all my journals to a New York Times best-selling author by the name of Robert Kolker. It was published by Doubleday in April of this year. It's called Hidden Valley Road, and it was the #1 New York Times best-selling book for nonfiction and ebooks and print combined, and became one of Oprah's book club picks. I was interviewed by Oprah in May, and now a TV miniseries is in the works. Now that the book is out and things have settled down, it's been about 6 months since the book was published, I'm refocusing my energy on my art and my immediate family, and I continue to live a quiet life, splitting my time between Boulder and Crested Butte. I plan to continue working on my art career with a particular interest in printmaking and abstraction, while balancing my life and spending quality time outside and with my family.